All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Happy Monday, Tuesday, whatever it is at this point. Sweet, thank you. Yeah, markets are markets are getting a move. I got a little bit of a sore throat this morning. I woke up with for some reason. The baby's got a little something too, runny nose and oh yucky. So hopefully I'm not getting whatever he's got. We gotta knock that out. But market getting whacked. So this could either be really fun or really bad. S&Ps are down 1.57% here, Nasdaq down 1.87. The Russell is the surprise for me. That's down 1.96, and the Dow here down 1.52. So I was really thinking last night we were 25,400, so we're now 200 points lower in Nasdaq from that when I did the Sunday stock talk. So we made a pretty decent move to the downside now. And I think the game plan for me, there's an important level here, 2640 20s for the Russell. We've got the important level for the S&P just above 6878, 50s there, and the Dow is pretty much gone at this point. I'd say it's 350 points away from its level. So that'd be the equivalent of like S&P's moving like 35 points. So I don't think that's necessarily going to come into play today. And then we've got that 332s above for NASDAQ. So my game plan here initially is I just want to let this trade. Like there's a real possibility that NASDAQ tries to make a run down to 941 quarters. But if we don't rally first, then I think that's a really tough short to try and capture is if we just run straight away from the open. So I'm going to have nothing to do with that either way. If we do rally up into 332s, then I'll pay attention and see, if we can roll over, depending on if we took overnight lows out or not first. So I think there's a lot of, possibilities in terms of why is that so loud? Thank you. In terms of just direction here, and that's the thing in which I want to be aware of today, and just being a little extra patient with it and allowing it to kind of come together. So, all right, sweet, we should be good there. How did it do this? My trade copier sometimes likes to just be a pain in the ass. All right, let's got about a minute till the bell. A crazy move as well in the metals overnight. Let me finish this real quick. There we go. Okay, sweet. Mic's too low. They shouldn't be. They should be fine. They should be good to go. Market's moving a bit here now. A little 40-point NASDAQ rally back. Sounds good to you? Okay, sweet. Yeah, I thought it was good. 5 seconds to go here. So we're gonna chill initially. These gold and silver moves are getting a little out of control. Voice a little choppy. That could be me, honestly. NASDAQ with about a 100-point bounce off that 200 area we were just printing in pre-market session there. Traded up into 316s. S&Ps are into that 68, 78s now. And the Russell just bounced about 10, 12 points here off its lows as well in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, it seems to be that time of year. Everything is going around. I know a bunch of people that have been sick. Luckily, we've managed to avoid like a good chunk of it. Russell strong rally back here. NASDAQ fading it just a bit. S&P is right at the level as well. It's the tough part for S&Ps. Like, we fail here, and there's a lot of room to go. Trade up to 84s there. Part of me thinks we could potentially short S&Ps here off this 68, 78. But I also don't know if I want to like start the week off with a move, like an entry 3 minutes into the day. If you don't mind being a little aggressive, I don't think it's bad though. Netflix getting a little love here in front of its earnings today. This S&P short has room though, like overnight lows, which would that would honestly kind of make me a little sad if we did manage to drop 30 points. Meta down 2.7%, Tesla down 2.6%, Nvidia 2.6%, AMD and Apple kind of rallying back some. At the moment, those are the two that I see are moving there. Silver making new lows, at least here intraday. Not necessarily overnight lows by any means. Silver back up to 78s for another test, trying to push through a little bit. NASDAQ is testing 332s at the same time. What's up, Tayron? I gotta hit you back today, actually. Ooh. Huh. Does the market here want to rally back to 493s for NASDAQ? That's the question. We're pushing up through this 332s here a little bit. If we don't push like too far and we get a bit of a pullback and kind of test 332s, I'd be open to trying that long attempt. S&P's just traded 78, 75s. 78s now. NASDAQ with a quick rejection there. We got above the 332s and then immediately came back beneath. S&P's here trying to hold on to 78.50s. I'm honestly not all that surprised by the action so far. It made sense that we would try and rally back. It's just a matter of how far. Again, the move, if we would have just sold straight from the open, would have been the tougher move, I think. I want to try a little bit of S&Ps here to the long side, coming off 78s. Stops are about 3 points under 75. It could be really, really quick though. Nice move out of the Russell there. I think S&Ps might be. You know when your ears get like stopped up and if you yawn it like releases that pressure? So I feel like I gotta keep doing. S&P's gonna look like they got a little 5-minute 1, 2, 3 kind of look going. They might want to get a bit of a pop there. There's room to 69.33s, which is kind of crazy. NASDAQ trying to get back up over 332s here. We can get a push up towards like 90s, 68, 90s, give or take. I think that's a decent little spot for us. Russell is on a mission. Anybody get an entry in this with me? Anybody riding the S&Ps with me? All right, sweet. We had about 2 R's there. Might go ahead and bring this to break even. Yeah, I'm out. That was unfortunate. NASDAQ came back up and traded those 332s though and then got rejected. So I wanted to be a little bit cautious on that. That's a nice little clean test of 332s and coming back off there. S&P's had their shot. I think we wait. The game plan was to be chill this morning. There was a nice little cute entry right there that could have allowed for a lot of room if it really wanted to. A 3-point stop with a potential for a 50-point target I kind of can't pass up. Yeah, Apple rallied back decent, a little 2-point pop there initially, and then now fading it. Kind of same thing everywhere except for Netflix is the only one holding the strength. I will say that the Russell and the S&Ps at least look like they want to try and hold today. Whether or not NASDAQ is going to be able to kind of commit to that without going through 25 100s down there it's a totally different question. And S&Ps are right back up, well, through our entry at this point. We would have held through some pain down to 73s though. NASDAQ, nothing made new lows there. It's the unfortunate part. We might have a little bit more rally left in us here. We're conflicted because S&Ps are above 7850s, NASDAQ beneath 3275s. The Russell doesn't seem like it cares. It actually almost popped overnight highs there. Part of me says we just long the Russell and put stops under this tail, but it's a pretty massive, I say massive, it's 7.5 points, but still. S&P's new highs, NASDAQ pushed back into 332s here and rejecting again now. There's nothing phenomenal here at the moment. I'm totally okay with still chilling. We lost a couple ticks on the S&Ps coming back. I didn't get break even quite in time. But I would love another trade kind of like that with the potential. But I'm also cool if we just end up chilling here. I don't necessarily, I don't love the risk reward here for NASDAQ shorts, but stops over like 41s. It's like 50 couple points at this, like right here. It gives you room to 100 down here. So it's roughly 190 points worth of stop for a 50 point stop loss. So it's basically 4 to 1. The market doesn't have a clear direction at the moment either, though. So the open and stuff like that on your charts will be a little bit off today because it's technically going to read off the open from yesterday. So you kind of got to just go in there and take a look. Like S&P's open at 68, 71, 75s. And then if you look at NASDAQ opening print down in there is 25, 243s. So like the opening print that's currently being shown, the 291 is not accurate. I'm not a huge fan of the little half days and kind of all that in the mix there. You short NASDAQ, Osborne? What is RTY doing? Part of me still wants to long the Russell and just let it do its thing. S&Ps are trying their damnedest to hold that 78.50s. NASDAQ back up at 332s now. Looks like a 15-minute 1, 2, 3 of sorts kind of forming up there for the Russell. That little shimmy under that last low at 55.80s. It looks good. NASDAQ now trying to push through 332s. I'm sort of tempted on longs. NASDAQ new highs there. See what NASDAQ does here. There's 160 points up in the 493s. It's either that or we just had a divergence and then we crater back through the lows. He says shorts, grab your ankles. Traded 339 on that last little push there. NASDAQ back at 332s here. Dow looks like it wants lower. Would it come as a surprise if I said I don't trust the long here either? S&Ps and NASDAQ made new highs there on that bar. Russell and Dow did not. Well, let me take that back. Yeah. I also don't know if I trusted enough for a short against the divergence, but Good avoidance so far. The crazy thing is ticks are still super red, minus 860s at the moment. I think S&Ps want to crack. At the same time, though, I'm also slightly still bullish on the Russell. So it's a very conflicting situation we're in here. Part of me thinks S&P's fail 7850s because NASDAQ is failing 332s. At the same time, though, Russell is just putting together this 15-minute 1, 2, 3 and doesn't seem to care what anything else is doing. So it's like, do I go there or do we look at shorting S&P's NASDAQ in some way? Yeah, that opening print though is wrong. That opening print's lower than the 291s. That's the part I don't like about the whole. Yeah. NASDAQ is trying its best though to hold on. You're in NQ longs. I see it. I see it. Basically, like third test of this 332s either breaks now or forever hold your peace. Did we make new highs there? I don't think we did we? No, we didn't. What is that move? S&P's got a little shake there. To the downside, NASDAQ, same thing. Dow looks like it's about to make new lows. Those lows are 783s. We're currently 821s. S&Ps though are weak. And they're about to make new lows actually on the day. That low is 71. Part of me is debating whether it's worth a Russell long. S&P's just made new lows. Excuse me. I feel like it probably is, but try it small. There's no technical. There's no technical trigger or anything just yet, and I probably am going to be a little bit early on this. But I really don't want to wait till up to 6150s because then the risk reward is like totally jacked up. And if I'm wrong, then it's going to be rather quick, like it is at the moment. I'm fighting the idea of this market move lower here with the Russell a bit. And like I said, it's going to be rather quick if I do have to get out. But if we can get up through like 6150s here, you can wait for the actual entry. It's like a little over 5-point stop. Probably closer to 6 realistically. But what I'd like to see is if that happens and it trades like straight up into like 65, 66s. Those lows were 783s for the Dow. We traded 788s, but S&Ps did make new lows. So we realistically shouldn't see back under 55s now for the Russell if it's going to work. We should be able to move from here. Like I said, up over 6150s. And I'd like to see just a quick flurry up to like 65, 66s out of it. And then from there, I think there's 2690s on the horizon potentially, so that's a little ambitious maybe on a day like this, but if we take basically a break even on a S&P trade earlier, and we take a small stop here in the Russell on the day, I'm going to be totally fine with that considering the alternatives here, which were the potential that some people probably tried flipping long and short a couple different times off of either 7850s or 332s. And if we can get that pop to allow us to at least either take a little bit off or lock some in, that would be ideal because then we could just take a walk and come back. which I might just do anyway. Nasdaq here acting like it wants to try and do it. High of the day is 65, 70s in here. I'm gonna put stops in place here. And then I'm gonna walk away for just a minute. If we come down and take me out, then so be it, but I'd like to see this try and reverse and pop up through those highs. But I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We got a Dow divergence down there at the lows now. Ticks are about to push over 0 for the first time on the day. We're printing minus 63, minus 77. The Russell's probably still the one though. AMD is a standout here today. Anything that's green, we should be paying attention to. And AMD went from red to green on this gap today. Anybody got anything worthwhile? There's something I'm missing. Well, technically, both are fine. 4020 came from previous. NASDAQ can't determine whether it wants to go higher or lower. We're down just about 1R here on the day. We took basically a break even on the S&Ps and a stop on the Russell, which is kind of unfortunate because we technically never triggered the trade in which we were looking for, which we said that when we took it. But the risk reward is insane if we are going to rally in there. The question is, S&Ps and NASDAQ both beneath their level, still room to go. Outside of AMD, I don't see any individual names that are actually working in an uptrend. Google maybe on the day, it hasn't turned green yet, but intraday at least working off those 321s. Apple just completely giving it up though. Tesla giving it up. Meta's trying to hold on. So it's not the greatest looking picture out there in the individual equity world either. Dow kind of looks good. 49,139's above. We're probably just going to rip and then not give an entry to do anything with in anywhere, shape, or form. It's like, what is that? A 77-point bar out of NASDAQ. Yeah, it certainly did. The Dow divergence, the S&P divergence, they both certainly worked. We got other firms sending out emails about other firms going under. I'm going to read that later. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but Funding Ticks ended up, I guess, closing his doors yesterday or day before, something like that. Russell here is about to make new highs on the day. There they are, new highs on the day for the Russell. It's about to push overnight highs here as well. Oh shit. S&P's new highs, Dow new highs, Russell new highs. NASDAQ still struggling at 332s here. Gold coming back off those highs a little bit there now as well. Everyone took the. Did you get trail? You tried to short? That's unfortunate. That is kind of a crazy move, though. No, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I was watching. It happened like literally right before I sat back down at the desk. I kind of said it though. I'm like, it looks like we're gonna just pop here and like not give an entry to do anything with. And then NASDAQ comes in with that bar. Kind of a weird little morning with the big gap down and stuff like that. NASDAQ's still not able to get those new highs yet. We got 3 minutes. If we can manage to do something in those next 3 minutes and then retest 332.75s, then I'm okay with like a long attempt in there to see if we go to 493s. It's 160 points. We could certainly play a range game. I don't know. I kind of seem to think that the Russell wants to go all the way back to 2690s. And S&Ps have room to 6933s. It's not that far. It's not really that far. That's the only thing that's like keeping me. The range so far on the day definitely is not great. It's 183 points here, which really isn't even the case because that's including part of yesterday. So it's more along the lines of 134 points. Russell's still pushing here, new highs. We're at 30 seconds here. Let's see if NASDAQ can hold. All right, NASDAQ held. If we can get a pullback to 332s out of NASDAQ, whether we go under 318 or not is going to be the question. But we can probably use that realistically for a stop. If we can get a pullback to 332s, then I'm interested in longs. We can give this, we can realistically give it 20 points. There's 160 points to target, so it'd still give us like 8 to 1. So if we're using 20, let's just call it 25 points as a stop. If you want to risk $100 on it, you can take 2 micros. This would be like a touch and go type situation. We don't really necessarily need any kind of technical trigger or anything here. We just want the test. No pullback yet. No pullback yet. No. That would be rather frustrating, I'll be honest. We can still get a pullback. I mean, we made new highs, which is fine. We can still end up getting a pullback though. Impressive rally out of the Dow, though. Almost 300 points off that low now. S&P's, I guess, same thing, right? 35, 36 points off lows. The Russell's probably going to run like right into 2690s with no pullbacks, no nothing. Did you get along the Russell? It needed one more shake from where we initially got in under those 54s. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that opening print's not quite right, but it definitely reacted. Like damn near to the tick, which is crazy. Yeah, technically Mondays. Yeah, we did have the divergence. The divergence is valid for sure. Yeah, I tend to try and ignore yesterday's action on days like this. But the open certainly reacted very well. I'm still looking to see if we can't get NASDAQ to come back down and trade these 332s. Because I'm open to doing something in there. By the way, for those of you that are here, give me a thumbs up on this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things if you haven't done so already. Much appreciated. And I got that YouTube video coming out here for the unfortunate situation from last week. We've been working with a couple people on some edits and things, trying to make a little bit better workflow on some content this year, because that's a big focus for me. I want to get better at. Like this. Stop, don't miss. Do it. My back. My back. Yo, Osborne, are you listening? No pullback yet still. Probably a super inappropriate song to have on stream. My back. We'll just skip that one. All right, decent move. Everything broke out, made new highs here. Looking to see if we can get pullbacks. At this point, we've gone a little bit further, like in Nasdaq than I would have liked for like that first initial pullback, like 10, 15 minutes ago, right down to 332s. So at this point, I am, when we come down, I'm certainly, if we come down to 332s for a recess, I'm still certainly interested. I'm going to be a little bit less aggressive with the idea of it not triggering for the entry. I'm willing to take some off of the level for sure, but then any additional like add to get full size and stuff, we'll let it have a trigger and kind of go from there. So I'm still waiting on that. AMD here just decides to continue to keep ripping. Nasdaq pushing. to the wall, to the wall. Touch toes. Oh, NASDAQ coming down here off those highs, little spike just now. See if we can't get down into 332s. This really is a very interesting day. All right. Russell's still holding pretty well. $10.48. Ticks did push up plus 500 there on that rally. Gonna pull back to even line now. We were minus 1500 at the open, which is crazy. I don't know that anybody in here has really seen. Probably not. What have we been? 2022. Yeah, probably in 2022. 2022 would have been the last time we probably saw minus 1,500 ticks. Well, I guess we probably did see it in the like April, March of 2025. It was very short-lived though. That'd have been the last time we probably saw that from an intraday basis. So it's been a bit. Did you get it set up, Coley? $1,713 in profits. Nice. I like this NASDAQ less and less as we get down here to the target or into 332s. It's taking out that prior. It should have happened first because now that 15 minutes not as great. Like I said, I'm still willing to potentially take a long here off 332s. But I'm less and less interested in it here, as I said, when we come down to it. Did we need under 318s or not was the question, right? We traded 318.75s there. So we came down, we traded those 318s, we popped up a little bit, and then now we're back under 332s at the moment here. So I'm kind of thinking 318s is maybe going to break for a quick second. If we can hold that and then get back up over 332s, I think it's okay. But at the moment, I'm more so like the Russell strength than I do, I think, the NASDAQ pullback here. So kind of conflicted on that though with the 15-minute in there too. So fuck me sideways. I would like something to do. Yeah, I took S&Ps early for a long attempt, which was working. We had like 5, 6, 7 points in it. And then basically took a break even on that. I think I lost like 3 or 4 ticks. And then we tried a Russell long before that last breakdown there into like 2650s. And then now potentially maybe long here in either Russell or NASDAQ. I like the Russell a little bit better. I think the target's better too. I just don't know if it's quite ready or not. Yeah, I mean, we're down about an R, so it's not terrible, but it's like, could have been a lot cleaner, a lot easier, I think. We're still holding right here at these 332s. I'm going to give this just a minute. If we're going to take the actual like 5-minute entry on this, it's a 32-point stop, so it's not terrible. Yeah, we're still looking at like 160 points to target. So it does skew the risk reward a little bit. I'm gonna let it come into play here for a minute, and then see if we want to do anything with it. Run up those likes for me though on the video. Give me a thumbs up. It's a Monday, Tuesday morning here, and we are live on YouTube. I'm just gonna start stating the obvious. NASDAQ at 25,325. I feel like some of y'all missed the whole Ben Lichtenstein Traders Audio era of markets. Those were good times. There was a dude, his name was Ben Lichtenstein. He must have had the freaking vocal cords of, I don't know, you just gotta like find one of his videos online, see if you can hear his voice again, but the dude had like lungs of steel and like freaking vocal cords that were just ridiculous, like an auctioneer kind of. And he basically would call S&Ps, like he would call the price as like an auction market, which essentially is what we are, like all day long. Let's see if I can find a clip of it. So you'd just be sitting here listening to, let's see, Ben Lichtenstein. Let's see if he has audio on this. Hold on one second. NASDAQ did trade under those 318s there for a minute. Russell looks better for longs here. I'm going to try a little bit of NASDAQ, I think, here, if we can get a small long in there. Remember, this was where it was like, yeah, I'm willing to pick up a little bit here when we get down there, but then we'll add to it. So right now I'm using micros here, and we'll look to see if we can't get an actual entry here. We'll let this bar set, which right now is about 335 by 313s. So we're looking at about 20. We're in that 25-point range where we could potentially be setting ourselves up for a 25-point stop in NASDAQ for a 160-point move. First targets would be back up at those highs at like 417, which is also about 80 points, give or take. So it's still right in our wheelhouse from a risk-reward standpoint. I'm going to be very, very tiny so far with one micro contract. So I got about 50 bucks worth of risk on at the moment. And we'll see if we can't let this hold. And then set this bar, which is obviously going to make for a little bit larger of a range, but we have some from a little bit lower. So if we have to buy some a little bit higher, then hopefully we'll still be right in that, 25-point range. I don't know why this coffee's making me like burp. But we're currently up 25 points now in this position, so maybe it doesn't let us do what we think we can do here. What's going to be kind of crazy though is if we can make the move all the way up into 493s and we pick up 160 points here, you know, that'd be $320 per contract, even on just one micro contract, which would put us at about 6 Rs from this trade specifically, looking at 25 points worth of risk here. That would actually erase the S&P stop and the Russell stop. I'm using about a $250 R value here today. So we're currently with this trade, we're at about 20% risk of a full R on the day. It would be a little bit unfortunate if that's all we end up getting is. All right. Anybody get NASDAQ there? Enough the world, and we rely on each other. You took a micro? Nice. We're probably going to go straight up into 493s at this point. It should be up about 65, 67 points here. 67. Fuck me. Actually, you know what? Probably one of like the coolest things that happened to me ever, but also a little bit weird. At the grocery store, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, I went to the grocery store and just picked up some groceries or whatever. And like what you would normally do at a grocery store. And then the bill comes out to, now let me set the stage actually. Sweetest little old lady behind the counter. She's probably gotta be like 80 years old. And when I say little, she was like 5'2" in heels on a good day. Nicest little lady. The total ends up being $69 even. And like, I'm not super mature. So we make eye contact when she tells me that the total is $69. And I kind of half chuckle. And she realizes why I kind of half chuckle. And she cracks a little smile. But it's like also a disappointing like smile at the same time. Like, I should be more mature than that for 35 years old or whatever it is I am this year. But it was also just like a great little moment between her and I. So it was great. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Did not plan it. She did not give me her number. No. She did not. I don't know. I don't know that there's a setting where I can't be where I can be mature enough to not crack a smile at that. Hopefully I never reach that like stage in my life where I no longer find that funny. It's like farts. If you ever reach a stage in your life where farts are no longer funny, I just don't feel like that's I don't feel like that's a good place to be. A good place for NASDAQ to be would add 25,493 if it wants to go. Watch yourself. Show me what you're working with. Oh, 11:05. The dilemma here at the moment is we're up like 45 points, give or take. Our original risk was like 25 points on this position. We were kind of up about 3 Rs there at one point. Even though it is a small position, I don't necessarily want to let that be a factor in the decision-making process. Yeah. I'm debating about just... I think Russell needed another shake. That 15-minute was kind of screaming that that's what it needed. Between that and the Dow are the only two that broke this last little pivot. S&P's actually kind of held it there, and NASDAQ held it for sure. Excuse me. So like that's kind of a good thing here at this point for fresh longs. Like you could potentially look at NASDAQ right here off a 2-minute and assume that we don't go back under 361s for a long, or you could look at the Russell now on what would be the shimmy here on a 5-minute, and that low is 68.10, so it's about 5 points worth of risk in there. I don't love exactly where we're at. It's also a little annoying that Russell moved off 2640s in pre-market. Like that opening down there would have made longs a little bit easier on the day in the Russell too, I think. I feel like I need to go sit in a sauna actually. Yes, show me what you're working with. Anybody have any questions? Oh, I gotta find Ben. I gotta find old Ben Lichtenstein here. Let me see. Can you guys hear that? Let me actually see if I can do, let me try something here real quick. Were you guys able to hear that though, or no? Make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. Yeah, hold on, I got an idea. Act a fool up in here, up in here. My mind up in here, up in here. Wait a minute. Nasdaq's moving. Russell new highs. Turns out all we needed was just that little shimmy there. Yeah, let me pause this real quick and then I'll play this. See if this works. These would be 11, this comes up 10, 53, so we still have a solid 60 handles of range left. Here they come to sell it again. 9 half straight line, 20 straight line, even straight here now, guys. 8 halves are trading as well. Once again, guys, we're going to get an 8 half trade. 8 even offer, 7 even offer, 6 halves are trading here now, 6 evens are trading, 5 evens are trading here now. Once again, 5 evens do trade here. You're going to get a new 5 even offer comes in, 4 evens are trading out now, 3 evens are trading out now, 3 even here now. You're going to get a low print of 1103 even. Guys, 2 half offer, 2 evens are trading here now. Once again, I'm offering at 3 even here now, 2 half for the 9, I'm at 3 half. 3 evens per here, guys. All evens are trading, the fingerprints are trading. 9 halves are trading here now. Once again, we got finger trade here now. Once again, we are trading 1100 even. Guys, we are 64 handles lower on the day here now, guys. 9 halves trade. 9 even offer comes in here now, guys. Once again, 9 evens are trading here now, guys. Offered at a figure here, guys. Once again, 9 evens are 10.53. Once again, even straight. 90 even. So he would do. He would call this the entire day. So when he's like, oh, 350s or 350s bid, he's talking about at the time, which is going to be crazy. S&Ps are currently printing 6,900. This was the footage I could find was from the flash crash of May 20. Was it 2010? It's not giving me the actual date. Yeah, May 6, 2010. 2 minutes and 55 seconds is where the actual action starts. So here, listen to this. Offer at 70 even offer here now, guys. Once again, 70 even offer. 65 even offer here now, guys. Once again, offer at 72. Offered at 70, 60 even bid. At 70 even offer here now, guys. 60 even bid. At 70 even offer here now, guys. 60 even bid. So he's saying like 70 on the offer and 60 even on the bid. So when S&Ps were printing 1160 basically, that was the bid, but the ask was all the way up at 1170. So there was a 10-point wide spread between the bid ask is what he's describing. And we're down on the day. I don't know what we're down at this point on the day. From what I can see on the charts, we've dropped about 100 points from the chart that they're showing. But he just calls the quotes. Guys, 60 even bid here now, guys. This is the widest we have seen it in years. 60 even bid. I got 64 even trading. 64 even are trading. 60, 70 even are trading. 70 even are trading here now, guys. Once again, we made it within handles of an even offer here, guys. 70. And like you can hear the floor and stuff like that in the background. So when it would get like super, so like when I was talking about the ticks earlier, like minus 1500, like if we were to get a minus 1500 tick back then and the floor was active, which the floor was still active. I mean, even just a handful of years ago, it was still pretty active. Um, then you would hear like that commotion like go crazy. But yeah, that's what he did. He just give you he just give you the markets and call the markets live and basically if there was any like large institutional stepping in, whatever, he could see all that. He bought lows that day and lost money. Dude, that's a ball that's a ballsy move. That is a ballsy move, my friends. Gold making a decent little push now. It sounds obnoxious. It sounds crazy when I'm about to say this out loud. Is that I, at this point, it kind of seems like we could see 40. Well, I was gonna say 40, but basically 5,000 on gold. 250 points left. It's like the same thing I wrote about silver. Is like we look like we could probably touch $100, but it's also like me and everybody else are probably thinking the exact same thing in there. Um, all right. What do we got going here?
We're not focused on all this noise in here. We have key level. That's what I'm saying. Make it easy to touch these here. I jump in my team just so we can see these levels are targeted every single day and ready for my team. Right here we have 25,984. Down here we have 25,627. I can show the chart over. You can see the levels are marked and ready to go. So now we know we have these two levels of trade. These retail price hits it and that's the key. You can play price. You can see you deliver down and tap that level. keep this line at the 11 trading session high, reject this level, and this could go to that. We also have an S&P, so this high was taken on NASDAQ, but it wasn't taken on ETF. That gives us more confirmation to take.
All right. Trump speech is Wednesday, 8:30. S&P's hold 92 even for year. Yeah, I still think we try and rally today. We could lose that at a certain point, though. Overall, kind of a boring day. Kind of want to close this NASDAQ here. I think it's the right move. Under 361. I'm gonna put a trail in at let's see, what's my entry? 332s basically. 331s. So 355s basically. I'll put a trail in right here, 355s. If it gets taken out right now, then that's fine. And it got taken out. Good management on that. I mean, we held it up to 420s, so we had almost 100 points in it at the highs. We had like 90 points in it up there. We printed 428, so yeah, we were just shy of 100 points. Let it come back and take us out for plus 25, give or take there. 23, I guess, and change. So, yeah, it had every, I mean, it pulled back at every opportunity to hold just now through there, right around 380s, but unable to really do it. So, well, I think I still think we probably try and rally today, but at this point, it seems to be more than likely the range is set. We did just, 15, 20 minutes ago, we made new highs on the S&Ps and on the Russell, or sorry, we made new highs in the NASDAQ and the Russell. We did not make new highs in the S&P or the Dow, which is kind of a bit interesting because that has not been the way in which this has played out lately. It's been the Russell and Dow moving together and S&Ps and NASDAQ moving together. Now we're seeing a little kind of NASDAQ Russell move together there, at least today, and then S&Ps and Dow moving a bit together. So I'm leaning a little bit more towards like the range potentially being in, but that we still kind of want to push to the upside. And that's most of that thought process right now is strictly just coming from the strength in the Russell. So when we look at percentage changes here, we've got S&P's down 1.3, NASDAQ down 1.3 basically. Russell's down 0.57 here, and the Dow is down 1.26, right? So we're seeing a lot of strength in the Russell compared to everywhere else. And yeah, I mean, I don't see if there's anything else to do. We're going to need more data here. NASDAQ goes right back off 332s back up. We traded 333.75, so 1 point front run of that, and then just immediately rallies back. That's super unfortunate. Yeah, no, we did for sure. Euro close. Yeah, what time is that? Like 11:30? Yeah. What's up, Starboy? I might be done. I mean, the Nasdaq chipped away a little bit there. Gold and silver really didn't move much intraday here. The question is, should we look at continued longs here or not? We're right back in the middle of the range basically here for the Dow. We're at the upper end of the range for the Russell. S&Ps are kind of middle to upper end of the range, and Nasdaq's just a couple points away from highs there. Again, it seems like the Russell wants to make this move to 2690s, but whether or not, one, it doesn't make sense here now from a risk reward to try and capture those like 9-10 points, because the amount of room you'd have to give this at this point is basically like 8 points. And the question becomes is whether or not it's worth longs in something like the Dow or the S&Ps, or maybe even the Nasdaq at this point. I'm kind of conflicted on that. One thing from here, so a couple little notes for the week. One, we'll be doing a guest appearance on another stream again this week, so I think that one's gonna be super fun. I'm looking forward to that one. And then Friday I'm taking off again, so it's kind of a short 3-day week for me. My goal here being that we can at least find something to do. The market's less volatile today than I would have expected, considering we got that extra move to the downside in the overnight there. I mean, we moved, 350 points in the overnight session since Sunday open, but yet we haven't really moved but about 150 couple points here this morning now, 180 points maybe, give or take. So I'm kind of like, it's a bit quiet compared to what I would have thought. I do think there were some scalp opportunities and stuff like that for sure, and the Russell gave an opportunity as well there. That little 1-2-3 was a little bit, needed the extra shimmy that I wasn't thinking it would need on the day. NASDAQ pushing here. I don't know that there's going to be anything else for me to do on the day, unfortunately. We kind of got tripped out of that NASDAQ on that push. I guess if we left the original stops in place, it would have been fine, but I also wasn't necessarily trying to let that go back to even or red after it was up about 100 points. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of conflicted here because I do think that we see more upside out of Russell at the moment. I do think that the 2690s up there want to trade. I do think Nasdaq probably tries to trade up to 493s. I just think that the risk reward now at this point is a little bit skewed, and it's kind of tough to want to play that is the only thing. I mean, I'm looking, but we did just bounce, 80 points off the level in the Nasdaq. So, do I really want to do anything with that? Is the question, or do I just take my little lump on the day and go on with it? Because we're kind of slow. We probably do trend on Friday, to be honest. We probably do trend on Friday. Thursday's probably a super obnoxious day just because that's when I'll be guest streaming. And then Friday's going to be an absolute banger. I honestly have debated bringing my laptop with me, but I also think it's okay too if I don't. It'd be great if we didn't trade 493s today. That'd give us something to potentially target here later in the week. If market could go lower down to those 941s, which isn't which isn't far from here. It's like 450 points, give or take. So it's not crazy far away. But if we could get down there, and then it's really going to depend on earnings. I mean, we've got a couple earnings names coming up, specifically Netflix after the bell tonight. Yeah, that's the main one. Nasdaq coming right back down. I think it's totally okay if we walk away on the day. If we do die, though, however, a short would be nice. Okay. It's actually not a bad message. I was reading the email that Take Profit Trader sent out about funding ticks on wind down and all that. They didn't specifically name them, but it's kind of interesting though. I do think there's a possibility that there's a couple other firms apparently that are maybe on the, I wouldn't necessarily say on the chopping block, but they have some concerns. Some people in the industry have some concerns about them. I don't know which firms they are. 1147. Do we want to do anything? I might go ahead and dip out at 12. We're kind of slowing down here a bit. Ticks are pretty stable now, minus 400, plus 400 here. We've been stuck in this range for a bit. Russell did kind of pull back off those highs a little bit. Braylor was asking about the Dow. If you do think we're rallying here, then I mean stops would be down under 927s. Excuse me. It's just a wider stop than necessarily I would want to try and play with here. The Russell, I mean, lows down at 74 is about a 5-point stop there. Again, they're a little bit larger than I would like. I kind of feel like we're at. I kind of feel like we're at a point where we see some sort of like crazy news announcement that just like shakes everything up, and then we can move. I don't have any like real data to kind of back that up or anything. It just kind of seems like we made the big move overnight, which if we're technically would have been Friday into, you know, today basically, right? But I would venture to say a lot of that, yes, the chart certainly needed to move down to 332s, which we were talking about last week, but then also um, the fact that there was a tariff situation, there's like this whole Greenland thing, and kind of all these little pieces. So I feel like we're at that point now where market has made the move in which it kind of initially needed, and now we're kind of waiting on a little bit of that next direction. Like, do we go down into 941s here, 24 941s, which again is like 400 points away to the downside, so it's not crazy, it's close. We're down 350 points right now. That's only 1.3%. So I'm not saying we go there today. I'm just saying over the course of tomorrow, the next few days, is that the direction in which we head to for NASDAQ overall, right? Or are we taking some time here to kind of digest this move and then looking for what would be that next piece there, and can kind of break out from that and make the push, back to the upside, which I think if that's going to be the case, there's got to be some, in my opinion, I think there's got to be some sort of news piece that sets it off. And maybe it's earnings, right? Like maybe that piece is, Netflix reporting earnings after the bell. Like I'm looking at the calendar, it's like we've got Netflix, United, Interactive Brokers, some of the banks, stuff like that are coming out this week. I don't think, did Goldman? Oh yeah, they reported last week. That's a decent rally out of Goldman from that. Goldman and JPM are typically a little bit early. Yeah, JPM went down. Interesting. Huh. Yeah. Johnson and Johnson, Kinder Morgan. So it's a ton of different, which is normal. It's a ton of different Capital One, a lot of banks, a lot of financial stuff, which is the norm. And then ISRG on Thursday as well. 526. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I feel like we're at. This market needs something here in order to like kind of spark that next move. Whether we're going to get that today or not becomes the question. I don't know that we do. Like if I'm going to do anything, it's probably the Russell. That low just now was 73.80, so it's still about 4 or 5 points. We just continue to kind of break those little lows, and I don't love that necessarily. Russell straight up into new highs there. All right, 12 o'clock. I don't think I'm going to do anything else. There's potential here for Russell to continue to run up into 2690s. And there's a small little kind of 3-point trade right in through here, 3-point stop for a 9-point target. So it's like 3-1. Um, it's not necessarily something I want to mess around with. Today, I don't think. We'll kind of keep some powder dry. I venture to say probably a lot of people struggled today. And the idea of this range, which has been in place now on the S&Ps and NASDAQ for like the last basically 2 hours, is pretty brutal. Even in at the same time, even in the gold silver market, those really didn't move a ton either. So if I had to take any takeaways from today, I think discipline and patience would have been probably the biggest piece on that. Just kind of waiting for that to unfold there and not really getting caught in the chop. I mean, yeah, we had a decent little NASDAQ trade, but it only worked back a portion of the Russell loss, which had the Russell worked, it would be up about 24 odd points right here with a 4-point stop. So it would have been up about 6 points or 6 R's, sorry. NASDAQ had the potential for about 6 R's as well, a little bit more actually. So yeah, I mean, I think all in all the things considered, I can't really complain. So But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today, and Trump sends something out. Nothing crazy there. All right, sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna roll. I got a feeling that Russell trade, that little 3 point stop it gave, is probably gonna try and. I didn't take it, but it's like already trying to struggle right there. And yeah. What is this? All right, cool. I'm gonna sign off. One of the things I was working on some stuff this like long weekend as well. So we're gonna be potentially adding a couple new things into the membership there inside of WAP in the Discord there. So we've been doing these live streams and such over basically like the last like 2 months, give or take. Right around I guess Thanksgiving and all that, we kind of started those up. So doing the screen shares, kind of doing some things like that. Basically what we used to do inside the Discord, and that's not going to stop necessarily, but we are going to add some other things inside the Discord as well, and some new features and stuff in there. And then I did say that we were going to get back to the nightly videos in 2026, which is also still going to be the case. So I've been working on doing a couple of things over on my end for that, and just making sure that we can kind of get all those things to deliver and do what I want them to do. So yeah, and some cool like new little tools and stuff like that that might be coming in there. So I'm excited for that. I'll announce more obviously as we start to roll it out and whatnot. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I think kind of an unfortunate way for the Russell to do its thing and not allow me to participate in that in the way in which I would have liked to, considering it essentially has like a 40-point range on the day for us. There's lows down at 43.50s, which is crazy. Yeah. So, anyways, that's what I've got. I'll be back on tomorrow, and then Thursday we'll do the guest appearance, and then Friday I'm taking the day off as well. So we do have a new YouTube video coming out, so keep an eye out for that. I'll post it and all that stuff, of course, as well. But yeah, interesting start to the week. If you are a little bit red here, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it. I'd shake that off, but I wouldn't let it get out of control here or try and do anything like trying to scalp inside this NASDAQ range or something crazy like that. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, probably doesn't, but yeah, just keep that capital safe, and we'll run it back tomorrow and see what this market wants to do. Up over 2690s for Russell, and we probably long that again and see if we can't get a new high break in there, because Russell doesn't seem like it cares. Or a pause day and then a move Thursday in Russell also wouldn't be bad. So anyways, that's what I got. I'll check back in with you guys. I'll be in the Discord. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to hit me up, and we'll run it from there. So appreciate you guys.